Good morning, good afternoon, or good night, my fellow Chibits. Today, I'm here to bring all of you, once again, another Tokyo Ghoul chapter review. Feels good to be able to sit down, grab a cup of coffee, and drink it, and talk about Tokyo Ghoul. It's so good. It's so good to be able to just chat about this series. I'm so glad I'm finally getting back into it to where I could start talking about these chapters again and just diving into it. It's so much fun. It's a ridiculous amount of fun. And, you know, I'm just going to say right now, there's not going to be a live reaction this week. I'm going to be honest here. I don't have much time to do a live reaction on top of a review. The reason for this is because I want to do also a live stream tonight. I have some other things I have to deal with, but I do want to do a live stream tonight for, Dark Souls 3. I've been doing it for the past couple nights, and I want to do it again later tonight and, have a live stream chat with all of you. So because I have some other personal things I have to attend to, along with, wanting to do a live stream tonight, I don't have time to do a live reaction and a review in one day, because if I was to do that, I would not be able to do the live stream. It'd just be fucking GG. And so I'm just focusing all my time onto the review, because I also just want to focus my time on one central thumbnail as well. So yeah, that's why there's no live reaction this week. I'm very sorry. This chapter is a very glorious chapter for a live reaction. I'm not gonna lie there. I know for a fact this is a good chapter. I should have done a live reaction to it, but I just do not have the time this week. Please forgive me. And I feel like majority of you rather see a review over a live reaction. I think many of you might agree to that, because I saw many of you recommending me to do a review over live reactions many times over, so that's what I'm here for. So anyways, let's dive into this chapter. Now, I'm just going to let you know, if you're new to these Tokyo Ghoul videos, I want to do a brief disclaimer, kind of discussing it. I want to be going through page by page, panel by panel of the chapter, kind of discussing certain points of the chapter, breaking it down, and just, talking about what the meaning behind certain pages are. Now, I just do want to say right now, before you even dive into this chapter, there is a lot of correlation to Chapter 70 of Tokyo Ghoul. I'm not talking about Chapter 70 of Tokyo Ghoul Re, I'm talking about Chapter 70 of Part 1 Tokyo Ghoul. There's a lot of correlation to that chapter. I am going to go over that, but I'm just letting you know, if you want to kind of have a brief understanding, I do recommend you to go read that chapter. It needs to be read. There is a lot of good correlation connection between these two chapters when it comes to this chapter. So now that I've said that, let's dive in. So the chapter starts off with Furuta smiling all evilly, and you know the chapter is going to be good. When you see Furuta, he's just smiling and all that, and then, Kaneki's there, we know these two's connection, I've discussed this, and Hinami's there. I mean, Furuta, he's a wild card. He's the wild card of this series right now, because you don't know what the fuck this man's gonna do. We don't really know much about this man. We know he's connected to everything, but we really don't know his battle strength. So, walking into this chapter, you don't really know what to expect. You have no idea. You don't know how strong this man is. We don't even know at the end of the day if this man is a ghoul or not. We have no idea. It's not confirmed. And we do know he was bred, supposedly, so there's a very likely possibility he might have some form of ghoul in him, or he's an enhanced human, similar to maybe how Arima is, because it's implied Arima's like a different type of human being, because Sunlit Garden. But enough of that, let's talk about Furuta. So Furuta, we came into this chapter, a lot of mystery, we don't know exactly what to expect from him, and so this chapter starting off like this, very glorious chapter. I'm glad that Ishida-sensei decided to focus on Furuta and Kaneki right at the start, because I'm glad we didn't cut over to some other scene, which I'd have been fine with, because there's a lot of good shit going on right now, and I would like to actually know what's going on with the QS squad right now, but sadly, I don't think we're probably going to get that. We're probably going to get a brief cover over it, maybe after this arc. It might be a separate arc entirely, who knows, but let's just dive into this. So the first page right here, Furuta's like, why, oh dear, why, oh why, like, he acts like, this is unexpected. That's exactly the way he's acting right now. He's like, moving his hand back and forth. It's like, why, oh why, like hand movements of a man that's just trying to put on a show. And Kaneki's like, stand down. He's like, I know your shit, Furuta. Like, Kaneki's face right now, he's like, stand down. And I love the smile and the way Ishida betrays Furuta throughout this chapter. Like, Furuta's smiling right now. He's like, I had such a nice comeback prepared and everything. Do you understand exactly what you are doing? My little baby of a boss. I'd rather not have to do this, but... Now, before I continue on, let's explain this. My little baby of a boss. Some might not understand that, so I want to explain it. I think it's easy to understand, but I want to dive into it anyways. Pretty much, he's talking about how Kaneki is his, superior, and, how he's pretty much like Furuta's boss. Even though Furuta's a part of V, technically Furuta's like an underling compared to Kaneki, because Kaneki's in a higher status. You get the point. I'm not, counting V, so that's why he's calling him a little baby of a boss. There you go. And so, when he says that, he's kind of making fun of Kaneki. He's just pointing fun, making fun of Kaneki, putting him down while smiling. And now he's like, I'd rather not have to do this, but... And then he unlocks his fucking briefcase. His briefcase is opening up. And this is one of the craziest things about this chapter. You have it to where it's Rotten Fellow. Now, we already know, if you're unaware, Rotten Fellow is Rio's brother. Well, we already know this, okay? And I've covered this in a video. I'm most likely going to link that in the description if you've yet to check it out for yourself. I'll have it in the description where I can cover more. I cover deeply into Rio and his connection to Rotten Fellow and different stuff like that. So if you want to know more information about this Quinque that Furuta is using, then you can go check out that video. But for now, though, let's look at this. So Furuta is using Rotten Fellow, so that's Kijima's Quinque that he's currently using. And he pretty much pulls it out. He's smiling all evilly, and I love the dialogue of what Furuta says. My position necessitates that I fight you. And then he's like, oh, but it hurts, it hurts. Pretty much Furuta's going along the lines of saying, like, it hurts me to hurt you. I'm gonna have to mess up that fool face of yours, boss. He's just acting like he's all upset. He's, like, saying these lines, but then he's smiling all evilly like a damn clown. And I like how this is. It's like he's trying to put on an act, but it's not. It's like his emotions are just leaking out right now. It's like he can't hold back his sadistic side. That's exactly what this looks like, what Furuta is doing. When he's like, oh, it hurts to hurt you. But actually, he's really enjoying this deep down. So, kind of going a little bit more into the psyche of Furuta a little bit when you get to see how he acts towards Kaneki when he's using Rotten Fellow against him in this fight. And how he actually perceives this fight to begin with. Let me continue on. So after the fight begins, he's smiling all evilly, he's using Rotten Fellow with one fucking arm, just throwing around a damn chainsaw. He's like, it hurts ever so slightly. And Kaneki pops up behind him, and he's like, ah, hello there. Which, right here, this sets the atmosphere and tone for this battle, which I don't know if many might have caught on to, but it felt like Furuta was playing with Kaneki the entire time. It really did. And let me explain. See, when he's like, ah, hello there, Kaneki pops up behind him. Furuta sees him, and he's like, oh, hello there. He acts like, oh, it's to be expected. Like, he already knew that was gonna happen. Turns around, and then, Kaneki tries to kick, and he grabs Kaneki's leg. It's like he's very familiar with Kaneki's fighting style. That's exactly what it looks like to me. Because, Kaneki has a certain fighting style, we know this, and maybe Furuta has kind of looked and watched his fighting style over the time, because we do know he's been watching Kaneki, we know he is Sota, we do know he was with Dr. Kano and all that, so we know Furuta has information. There's a very good likely possibility he knows kind of how Kaneki fights, and he also knows how Hinami is as a person as well, so what happens towards the end, or in the middle portion of this chapter, with what, Hinami does, he might not have expected, since Hinami's the type of person that would not normally attack someone, which might explain. So, pretty much, Furuta is messing around with Kaneki, or at the very least, he knows what Kaneki's going to do in his fighting style. He knows he's going to pop up behind him, he knows how Kaneki likes kicking, and he just grabs him like nothing. He grabs Kaneki with both his hands as he lets go. Like, look at this closely, the way this, page is. Page 4, page 3, if you're not counting that cover. He swings Rotten Fellow around, and as Kaneki appears behind him, he legitly just lets go. He fucking lets go of Rotten Fellow and puts his hands up. Like, Kaneki, you could assume that Kaneki makes him drop it, but it's not really like that. It looks like he just, like, lets go of it, and then he grabs Kaneki's leg, and as he grabs his leg, he freaking grabs Rotten Fellow and is about to sling it around at Kaneki. This is in a brief, quick moment, and the speed and reaction time that Furuta has at this moment is ridiculous, because regardless of what you say, Kaneki does have the strength of a ghoul. And for Furuta to be able to hold Kaneki with one hand, yes, you could say he's in midair and all that, which makes a lot of sense. In midair, you're a little bit weaker compared to if you're on the ground, but still, Furuta is holding him with one fucking hand, and then manages to grab Rotten Fellow in midair as it's falling, and then with his dexterity, he's going to sling it around and hit Kaneki. That is crazy right there. But thankfully, with Kaneki's quick, fighting skills, he actually twists around and slams Furuta into the damn concrete wall, which is another point I want to point out here. Furuta, he says owie. Like, after he gets slammed into the wall, he just says owie. That, he doesn't, he's not speechless, he's nothing. He just straight up says owie, which once again sets the tone for this fight. It's like Furuta's being a fucking clown. He's being a jokester, which that's kind of what he is. But still, he's just playing around. And he's like, owie. And as he does that, we go to the next page, his fucking tooth flies out. And, oh my god, I laughed my ass off at this. Regardless of the tone of this fight, that's fucking hilarious. Furuta his fucking front tooth is just fucking gone. I would make that thumbnail, but I don't want to spoil. I don't. I mean, I want to put symbolism and stuff, and sometimes my spoil. Yeah. What the fuck am I trying to say? Damn. Let me drink a cup of coffee. Damn. Forgive me. I had like a little dirt moment there. Sometimes I do put spoilers in the thumbnails, but I try to avoid things that are very, very, very spoiler heavy, like something like that. That's something that I think many would, find better if they didn't get spoiled on. So I'm going to try to avoid that, but I usually would want to put that as a thumbnail, but I won't. So, talking about this though, Furuta's tooth, it flies the fuck out. And it's funny. It's funny. He fucking hits his fucking face against the fucking wall. And what's so funny about this, like, what is so good about this panel is that Furuta, he always smiles with this perfect set of teeth and shit. He's always having this, like, very evil smile going on. I mean, he's done it multiple times to multiple characters since he was introduced. Well, really introduced. We know he was in part 1, but since he's been really introduced, just seeing how that pretty smile just got fucked up thanks to Kaneki, it makes me laugh my ass off. But then we're set back into reality to the real situation, which I think majority might have missed when it came to this chapter, so let's dive into it. Besides the laughs at Furuta's new set of, front teeth or dentures or whatever, he starts rolling around, and he's like, ow, 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 like, all comedic-wise, like, it's a situation you would laugh at if it was a comedy series, because his tooth flies out, and he's just rolling. If you look at the panel, he's rolling on the fucking ground, saying, ow, 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 and it's weird, because we do know this man, he's an actor, and that's exactly what he's doing. He's acting. He's fucking acting. That's exactly what he's doing here. And then Kaneki comes down for a kick, like he's about to just do a finishing blow. He's not even waiting. And as Furuta's rolling on the ground, if you look closely, look at Furuta's hand. Look in his hand. He's holding his tooth. So that rolling on the ground was actually Furuta just trying to grab his tooth. That's exactly what it was. He was putting on a show, acting like he was hurt, and then grabbing his tooth on the ground. He was literally messing around. That's it. He was just putting on an act like he was really injured. And then once that was done, if you look at the next panel, he puts his tooth back in. He actually shoves his tooth back in, and he puts his thumb up. If this doesn't scream someone that is playing around in this entire fight, I don't know what else does. This man is not even trying. For him to go out of his way to put on an act to act like he's hurt, and then shove his tooth back in and do a thumbs up, this is a man that's not taking this seriously. He's really not. Or this might be his fighting style. We don't fucking know. But still, this right here is kind of scary. Because even though at the end of the day, we know kind of Furuta was a little bit defeated, he wasn't really necessarily defeated thanks to being weaker. He was just, I guess, not taking it serious. Because look at this, okay? As he does that, and he lifts up his, thumb to grab his, put his tooth back in, he's like, thumb attack, and he's going in for Kaneki's eye. And let's think about what this reminds you of. Remember what happened to Matsume? She got her eyes poked in by Furuta. Remember he fucking stabbed her in the eyes with his fingers? That's exactly what's about to happen to Kaneki. He's going in for that eye. He's going in for the human eye, not the Kakugan eye that Kaneki has. So that's very interesting. I wonder if she's just trying to imply something or I'm thinking too deep into it. So, let's go on to the next page after the thumb attack, which would cause serious damage, because that was about to hit Kaneki. That straight up would have hit Kaneki in the eyeball. He gets stabbed in the back. So, with this, it makes me wonder. this is the thing that makes me wonder the most out of this chapter. As I've already covered, Furuta wasn't trying. It's very obvious. He was fucking around the entire battle. He was saying, owie, oh, how you do there, or whatever, because he knew Kaneki was behind him, grabbed his leg, had great dexterity to grab the rotten fellow out of midair, and all that, and, you know, his teeth, he put his tooth back in, and all that. Just, it's a man that wasn't trying. And it makes me wonder, did he expect this to happen, what Hinami did? And this will lead us into finding out what Furuta really is. Is he a ghoul? Is he not? Because here's the question I have. I wonder if Furuta was just putting on an appearance and he was just shoving the tooth back in, and even though it's not going to stay there because either A, he's a human, or what if he's a ghoul and he just put it there and it's just going to reattach itself? What if? And, I mean, if he does have some form of ghoul in him, that might explain why he would do something like that, put the tooth in. Maybe Ishida's implying that Furuta is somewhat ghoul for him to do what he did with his tooth, like, kind of putting it back in. But even then, though, let's look at what happened here. So, Hinami, she does something that kind of goes against normally what she does. We know for a fact with last chapter, she didn't want to hurt anyone. Remember that. That was one of the main key plot points of last week's chapter, and kind of how Hinami has been for a long time. She's too weak to be able to protect the people she loves. That's one of the main things. And I discussed this a lot. And now she's going out of her way to be able to protect herself and everyone else. She actually saved Kaneki from having his eye shoved back into the back of his brain. Like, that's what she just did. She saved his ass. And I feel like this is maybe why Furuta was caught off guard. Now, I could see Furuta letting this happen. There is a possibility. But I feel like maybe Furuta was caught off guard at this very moment just because of how Hinami is as a character. He assumed that Hinami, being who she is, that she might not harm Furuta. She might stand there scared, and he didn't ever expect her to actually attack him in the back. Because let's look at the general reaction of him getting stabbed, okay? If we go back to when Furuta took something like some severe damage, like, okay, I know he got stabbed straight for the gut. That's gonna fucking hurt. But I mean, his face hit into the damn wall, and then his tooth was thrown out of whack. And I mean, overall, the way he acted and shoved it back in, if he's a human or even a ghoul, if you're shoving your fucking tooth back into your gum, you realize how bad that's gonna hurt? That's gonna fucking hurt. Regardless, that's gonna hurt a lot. Now, when you think about all this, and look at this panel, you don't see Furuta saying, owie, owie, owie. He's like, fucking, you know, like he's getting fucking killed. That's exactly the way it looks. So I feel like Furuta did not anticipate this. This wasn't a part of his plan. But there is some things that can go against this, which I'll explain. Once this happens and Hinami attacks him and she saves Kaneki, which goes to show more character development for Hinami to be able to protect the people she loves, and then also showing that, you know, she's growing up to be able to help people out, we move into the next page. The next page is the mysterious part. You see it to where Hinami, she's like, let's go, and she's all shy and all that. She shows a smile to Kaneki, and then he smiles too. Very sweet and cute. Very, very cute moments. And this is the thing I want everybody to realize. After that little smile and exchange, you see Furuta with his hand on the ground. That is his left hand. And if you look closely, his finger's like this. Like, it's like this, and his thumb's like this. And the way this looks to me, it looks like a dying message. That's exactly what it looks like to me. Now, I don't know if Furuta is going to die here. I just don't feel like Ishida would kill off this character like this and make it like that. That would be slightly anticlimactic. So I feel like there's more going on here. But way this looks, I've seen enough anime or manga to see that this looks like a dying message. Like he's trying to write something with his blood. That's exactly what it looks like to me. I could be wrong. He could be pointing at something. That's another possibility. Maybe he's pointing at someone. Or maybe, you know, he's, you know, marking something. It doesn't matter. Or maybe he's twitching and moving his finger to show that he's still alive. One or the other. But whatever it is that this is obviously signs that something else is going on with Furuta, and he is not necessarily dead. Now, this is the scary part, because as I talked about in the last chapter, chapter 69, with Furuta being who he is, I could see him attacking Hinami and just slitting her fucking throat. I mean, this is the perfect time, actually. I mean, Kaneki, he has no idea necessarily if Furuta is a ghoul or not. He probably thought he's dead. and that's why they're probably walking off. And if he does think that, and Hinami thinks that, and they're just leaving, what's stopping Furuta from getting up if, let's just say, this is hypothetical. Let's just say Furuta is somewhat Ghoul, or he has some form of ability to get up after a serious injury. Like, look at what Hairu did. She had a fucking hole in her stomach, and she was still moving and fighting. She had a fucking hole in her, and she was fighting. So, we know people from the Sunlit Garden can do some incredible things. So, what's stopping Furuta, even if, let's say, he is a human, from getting up after a blow like that and fighting to the death? Nothing. Nothing at all. So, him getting up, I feel like is key signs that he might do something drastic. If he is going to die, he might kill Hinami in the process to take away something else from, you know, Kaneki. But even then again, even if he is a Ghoul, he's probably going to get up and do something. Definitely. Unless it was an act, which I could assume could be. He could be put on an act or something. Maybe he's acting like he's going to die and he's going to run away or something. Who the fuck knows? We don't really know how Furuta really thinks. But still, something was strange about this fight. Something needs to be looked into. And something is definitely going on with Furuta. And we should probably not think this is probably the end of him. Okay, so now that I got that out of the way, let's move on. So, the chapter title is Thunder Rabbit. I want you all to take a moment to, you know, realize that this time of the month, or the year right now, it's Easter. It's Easter weekend. It's Easter weekend. Now, I know not everybody celebrates Easter. Not every country celebrates Easter. I understand that. But the thing is that it is Easter weekend, and we know how Ishida is. He loves having holidays or certain time events of certain parts of the year kind of correlate with certain things or characters or chapters. I mean, look at, you know, leap year in Furuta. You know, Furuta was a leap year baby. And, I mean, that was correlated around the same exact time as when, you know, the time came with this, you know, chapter, like, or previous chapters, and then the illustration as well. So, it being Easter weekend, I find that very funny and amusing because, you know, Rabbit, you know, Black Rabbit, and all that, Ayato, Toka, and all that, it correlates with Easter. So, yeah, Thunder Rabbit. Interesting. Okay, so we have it to where we cut over to Ayato, Yomo, and Toka. And this entire half of the chapter takes up like the rest, besides the flashback we get. And this is a very sad portion of the chapter. It could be summarized rather quickly, but I want to go into it and dive into it. Maybe a little bit too deep, but I'm just going to say this is a very sad second half. And I don't know how many people know about certain things about this chapter, but I want to talk about it, discuss it. It's been mentioned before by many Chibits I've seen in the comments, Twitter, and stuff, but I want to mention it here once again, just to make sure everybody has a good, clear understanding of what the second half means. So, you have it to where they're all putting on their mask. You have it to where, you know, Toka and Yomo, they're putting on their mask. Or, you know, Yomo never really took off his mask, but, you know, Toka's putting back on her mask, because if her face is shown or seen by anyone, you know what's going to happen. Cafe Reed's going to be attacked, and they're no longer going to be safe. So, yeah, it's going to be very bad for them. And that means that they can no longer live in the human world. Their face would be marked. So that's kind of why they're putting back on their mask. And doves are coming to attack them. So they go in to attack the doves. And the doves, Ayato and all of them, they go at it. The doves actually have shields on. They have shields on, you know, blocking what Ayato is doing. And, like, they're getting a defensive stance for a long-haul battle. But thankfully, Ayato and all of them, they go in and they just decimate these doves like they're nothing. Now, as the fight continues on, pretty much they realize that there's way too many doves coming in. They need to retreat. For instance, running for the exit. That's the main goal at the time. We found out last chapter. They're running for the exit. Let's look at what happened to Ayato. Ayato lost his privilege with the card. The card has been revoked to where he can no longer use it to open up doors in different cells and stuff, so they're going to have to go to the control room to be able to open up the door they're at. But the thing is that soon as that, you know, Ayato says this, Arima attacks the door that they were trying to open, because you can see the keypad thing right there, and you see the door getting eviscerated by the lightning that Narukami is using, or, you know, shooting out of it, and the door gets fucked up. Now, what I'm assuming this means is either two possibilities. One, A, the door has been damaged to where it could possibly be broken open. Like, it could break open to where, you know, Ayato, Toka, and Yomo could go through it. Or B, Arima fucked it up so bad to where the door won't open even if they go to the control room. For instance, the door will just stay closed like that. They can't open it up. One of the two are probably going to happen. And if that does happen, like if B happens, they're GG. They're fucked. They're gonna fucking die, and that's scary. That's very scary. So, hopefully option A happens. Hopefully that happens. Hopefully Artima did kind of like a mess up, and the door is gonna be opening up and get, you know, open by then. So, next page. You have it where Yomo and Artima, they finally meet up once again. They have this, like, matchup once again. You have it where Yomo's like Artima, and he's in the mask. You can see the mask around in the mask shape and all that. And Artima's walking in and all that. You could see, like, this is like a fated meeting as they see each other. And they both grip their weapons, and they both look at each other. They're ready to fight. And this has been a long time coming. Let me explain why this right here is so important. Many might not realize why this right here is a very depressing and sad part of the chapter. Some might not know, but Narukami that Artima is using, it's been implied that that is Yomo's sister. That's what it's been implied. Yomo's sister is Toka's mother, which is in the flashback. So Hikari is Narukami. And now you could see why Yomo is acting like he does towards Artima. And why this fight looks to be fated, like it's a fated battle about to happen. And this right here, it's going to be a sad, tragic end. I could already see Yomo dying. I really can. I really can. Because of the events of the last part of the chapter, but also the correlation to Chapter 70. Chapter 70 of Tokyo Ghoul, Part 1, to be exact. Part 1, Tokyo Ghoul, Chapter 70. The chapter title is called Brother and Sister. And, as you know, this chapter has correlations to brother and sister as well. For instance, Toka and Ayato, but also Yomo and Hikari. Brother and sister. And let's think about this, okay? In both of these chapters, it was like someone was lost. For instance, in Chapter 70 of Tokyo Ghoul, okay, Part 1, you had it to where Arata, the father of Toka and Ayato, was lost. Got captured. It's implied he's alive, somewhere in the prison. So there is a likely possibility he might appear and maybe save Yomo. We don't know. But I'm just saying, though, it's been implied he's alive, but still, he was lost in that chapter. And in this chapter, almost the exact same, not the exact same similar circumstances, but like a loss of a person close to them is happening. For instance, Yomo taking a blow, and yeah. So what I'm getting at is that there's a lot of correlation between these two chapters, Chapter 70 of Tokyo Ghoul Re and Chapter 70 of Tokyo Ghoul Part 1. So, yeah, look at that. Brother and sister correlations. Okay, let's go to the flashback or continue on with the fight. Lightning's coming in, and then we move into the flashback. Okay, so let's talk about this. Pretty much this entire flashback is Yomo and Hikari having a moment. There's just brother and sister talking with each other. You could see that Hikari looks a lot like Toka. Oh my god, they look very, very similar. Like, it's scary similar how, you know, these two look. And as they're talking, Yomo's finding out that his sister is pregnant. You know, pregnant with a child, which would be Toka. And he's pretty much finding out that, you know, his sister's going to be getting married, having a child, kind of settling down. And he's just, you know, acting like a typical brother, just looking out for his sister. And you see a lot of correlations between, you know, Ayato and Toka in this chapter, and with Yomo and Hikari. So, as we have a brief time skip, you have it to where Yomo finds out that his sister has, you know, had a child, and this child is Toka. And right here, this is a very sweet moment when she's like, Toka is her name. She's cute, isn't she? Looks just like me. And it's just Toka's face is fucking hilarious. And then Yomo's like, Toka. So this implies that Yomo is the uncle of Toka. Which it's already, there's been so many theories out there, so much discussion already and stuff. It was kind of obvious to begin with. It wasn't like Ishida was really hiding it when he put that, you know, kind of illustration in the calendar. I mean, oh my god, the calendar might as well just told us it was. So it wasn't like Ishida was really hiding this revelation, so it's not really a surprise to me, but I know how this could be a surprise for many, because if you didn't look into the calendar and stuff, most likely you didn't see this coming. You're like, holy shit. So yeah, Yomo is the uncle of Toka and Ayato. Crazy shit. So yeah, right here, Yomo fighting for his nephew and niece. That's exactly what he's doing in this fight. So, Narukami. Once again, let me say it again. Narukami is Hikari, Yomo's sister. And so when you see Narukami, you know, being used by Arima, That's pretty much Yomo's sister being used to kill her family members. Yeah, that's fucked. That's pretty fucked. And what's even more fucked is that Aito doesn't know this. He has no idea who Yomo is. He doesn't really know the connection and all that. And Toka jumps in with 33 mask to save Yomo. And Yomo pushes her out of the way. He's like, move. He smiles. And he pushes her out of the way. He pushes her. And takes a blow to the face. Like underneath the fucking mask. And the chapter's over. So the way I look at this chapter right here, my only thoughts I have to say right now is that Yamo's probably gonna die. He's probably gonna die. I could see it happening. I could definitely see it happening. I could see, you know, there is a likely possibility Arata could come out and appear and maybe save them. There is, because, I mean, we know a lot about Arata somewhat. We know he's been used a lot for, you know, harvesting of, you know, Quinke. And maybe he might come out to save Yomo. That's a possibility. But at this time, though, what's tragic about this entire scene is that Narukami, which is Hikari, the sister of Yomo, is killing Yomo. And what's even sadder about this is that Yomo had to protect Toka from her own mother. Tokyo Ghoul, everybody. Ashita, offering them weekly dose of tragedy and feels. That's exactly what this is, so. What a chapter. What a fucking chapter. Good chapter. Very good chapter. So the chapter ends to protect those wings he loves, so. Next issue. In this world, what can we really believe in? So yeah, that's the end of chapter 70 of Tokyo Ghoul Re. Fun chapter. Tell me your thoughts in the comments below. How do you feel about this chapter? How do you feel about the revelations we got? How do you feel about the suspicious fight of Furita? How do you feel about what happened to Yomo? Do you feel like he's dead as fuck? Do you feel like Arata's gonna pop up? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I love you. Please be safe. Chibi out.